Israel has bombed towns in southern Lebanon despite a ceasefire agreed last year. The Israeli military says it was targeting Hezbollah infrastructure, an excuse it repeatedly uses. Wednesday's attacks came a day after an Israeli airstrike killed 13 people in a Palestinian refugee camp. Lebanon is also filing a complaint against Israel with the United Nations. It says Israel has built a wall inside its territory. The Lebanese government released images showing the wall crossing the blue line. That's the unofficial border between Lebanon and Israel. Israeli troops are stationed on 5 hilltops. The Israeli military has also declared 2 buffer zones or no-go areas around the Lebanese border. But as Zeina Khodr reports, Israel has been exerting far more control and causing fear through its use of drones.
Posters of Hezbollah fighters adorn the landscape in southern Lebanon. Not all were killed in the ongoing unrest with Israel, but this is a conflict that dates back to Israel's invasion in 1982 and its 18-year occupation of 800 square kilometers of Lebanese territory. More than 2 decades later, there is a different and less costly occupation. You don't always see them, but you hear the near constant buzzing. Israeli drones rarely leave the skies in Lebanon. It's a feature of daily life, especially in towns along the border. Residents here tell us drones are being used to kill, monitor, and intimidate, despite the ceasefire agreed last November.
A few days ago, I was on the roof when I saw a drone above me. I continued working and it left. Apparently, after, it identified who I was.
Drones have replaced soldiers, and many people say they live in fear.
We constantly hear the drones as if they're in your home, and we wonder where the next strike would be.
But Israel's military still has a presence in at least 10 square kilometers of Lebanese territory. It built positions on 5 hilltops along the border, designated 2 buffer zones or no-go areas, and now, according to the United Nations, it expanded its occupation by 4,000 square meters.
What's happening now is that Israel is building concrete T-walls along the blue line, and in some cases it's on their side, but in a couple of instances near Yaroun, it does cross the blue line into Lebanese territory, and we've identified, and our peacekeepers have measured.
We can't get any closer to the wall. It's too dangerous to approach the border. We saw a bulldozer at work behind the wall, which Israel says is part of a broader plan for reinforcements. It denies crossing the blue line, the unofficial border. Not far away, a threat of Israeli strikes on Yaroun forced the few people who have returned to the conflict-ravaged villages to wait on its outskirts.
Maybe they don't want people to live in villages along the border, and that's why they keep on targeting the area.
They wait until they believe it is safe to return, but there's little doubt who is in control here. Zeina Khodr, Al Jazeera, Southern Lebanon.
Okay, we're now going to speak to Macaron, who's a geopolitical analyst, joining us from Beirut this hour. Thanks for your time. So is Israel trying to lay the groundwork to at least try to stay in Lebanon?
They are trying to build like a buffer security zone, a little similar to what they are doing in Gaza. They are trying to create a reality on the ground, increase the pressure on the Lebanese government to act. And they have area superiority that cannot be challenged. And there's no basically any ability from the Lebanese side to deter that. So I think the diplomatic impasse is allowing them to move freely inside, as they are doing in the Syrian territories and in Gaza.
But, there is a supposed mechanism, as you know, in place for monitoring and enforcing the ceasefire agreement between Lebanon and Israel. But how do you explain this mechanism turning a blind eye to Israel's daily violations of the agreement, yet at the same time pressuring the Lebanese army to act against its own people in the south?
The mechanism has been present since the 90s between Lebanon and Israel. It has not always been effective. It cannot work without political will. And now they are just meeting, exchanging what's happening. And so if there's no political will, if there's no political framework, to act on, it will serve only as a bureaucratic meeting. So I think there's a need for U.S. involvement to have like a feasible framework to work on. And yes, I mean, we are in this cycle now where the Lebanese government basically adopted a plan to disarm Hezbollah, and there's U.S. pressure, Israeli pressure to act on it. And the Lebanese side is asking more concession from the Israeli side before starting. And there's also the option of indirect negotiation. So I think the pressure on Lebanon is going to increase moving forward from the American politically and from the Israeli militarily to basically change this dynamic. So Lebanon is not in a very easy situation moving forward.
Speaking of Washington, look, we know that the Lebanese army commander has recently condemned Israel for its escalating violations of Lebanese sovereignty, which then prompted the U.S. to cancel a scheduled White House meeting with him, with General Rodolphe Heikel. Is this cancellation by Washington a snub, or is it a warning to Lebanon?
I think it's both. It's unprecedented because usually Lebanese U.S. military relation has always been based on institutions. But I think his recent statement, I think it's mostly a message for President Yaroun, who has been also escalating the rhetoric against Israel. So I think they are trying to put pressure for the army to be more active. I don't think they're going to go to the extent of canceling this military cooperation, because this is one of the pillars of U.S. influence in Lebanon. But I think they are trying to pressure. They're also trying to undermine, maybe indirectly, the new U.S. ambassador who just started his role now. There's a lot of interplay inside the administration in Washington. So I think it's going to be tense unless we see some direction from the Lebanese side. And this is where we're stuck now, this vicious cycle somehow.
And on that point you make of the Lebanese side and the Lebanese government, I mean, you say that it's under pressure by Washington, but many in Lebanon itself accuse the government of turning a blind eye to what's happening in the south.
It's historically, the Lebanese government or state never was present in the south of Lebanon. And this was what created all the problems over the years that was filled by other actors. So yes, I think south of Litani, we have to see more presence for the Lebanese military to basically play a crucial role on the border. It doesn't mean the Lebanese side have to be police for Israel. It doesn't mean have to kill Lebanese and enter a civil war because of Israeli demand. But they have to step up, that it's basically to protecting the border. But obviously there's no consensus between Lebanese on this issue. There's the Iranian role, there's Hezbollah role, there's the concern of the Shiite community who will protect them if they disarm. What are the guarantees in the Lebanese regime for them? So it's a very complex issue. It's not only about Lebanon and Israel, it's about Iran and the US, it's about also domestic factors in Lebanon. So I think the US has to have more a nuanced approach of how to navigate Lebanon. Having pressure, deadlines, and all those stuff will not advance issue, will complicate them. And war will not benefit many players, but definitely the Lebanese side, especially the state, specifically has to step up to fill the security gap and play a more proactive role in diplomacy.
Okay, Joe Macaron, you're a geopolitical analyst speaking to us from Beirut. Thank you so much.
Don't miss out. Get the full picture. Subscribe to Al Jazeera for reliable news and expert insights. Like, share, stay ahead.